Good morning, peoples. It's the morning of the 5th of November 2018, and I've been for a lovely walk this morning outside in the sun. It's beautiful out there. It's a gorgeous day. It's actually quite warm and sunny, so after being so cold. It's rather nice. And I was musing about the whole Guy Fawkes thing, because today, famously in the UK and other places in the world now, I suppose, it's the night when we celebrate the failure of Guy Fawkes and his fellow conspirators' plot to blow up the House of Lords, I think. And they were Catholic dudes. They wanted to get rid of the heretic king, James I, and replace him with a Catholic head of state again, because they didn't want, that was the true religion, I guess, And you just think about it and think, that failure to actually succeed in changing something has now been celebrated for a long time. So it's kind of like, religious disagreements, which have sort of which we can look back then and think, oh my God, they tried to blow up the Houses of Parliament because of religious differences and they failed. But today, there's still a lot of problems like that going on in the world, isn't it? And it goes to show to me that something about focus creating reality. And it's very relevant to living effortlessly and magically, because your focus creates your reality. So Guy Fawkes wanted to create something, obviously, that him and his fellow conspirators, they wanted to create something which they thought was going to be a better world, a better place to be, a better England. And but what they were focusing on was destroying something else in order to achieve that. There's the thing. In the world today, we resist lots of things, don't we? The focus is on the war against drugs, the war against cancer, the war against people, against domestic abuse, people against this, people against that. It's always people against something. And when you are against anything, your focus is on resisting what is instead of creating what you want. So, note to self and note to all the religious organisations out there who are trying to dominate the world. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. If you are focusing on resisting something, destroying something, then basically you are fueling the fire of whatever it is you're trying to get rid of, and just creating mayhem and unconsciousness and disaster. So dear old Guy Fawkes and his mates, they failed in their attempt. We celebrate it today, which, we're celebrating the fact that they didn't succeed in changing the order of things. But it's still going on, isn't it? It's not like that's something that is an isolated thing in our world that happens and it's not happening anymore. It's like it's still going on all over the place. People trying to create change by fighting, by resisting, by forcing, by pushing. And the way I can relate that to my own life, right, is that, and that's where we've got to go, isn't it? To create changes in the world, we have to first change ourselves. If we don't change ourselves, raise our own consciousness, wake ourselves up, we are going to just continue, add continuing momentum to the world of the unconscious, which is, I'm afraid, where, probably more than 80% of people reside. Or maybe not so many now, I don't know, really, because there's a wave of new, a resurge of consciousness happening in the world at the moment and on the planet. But basically, there is a famous saying by some ancient mystic, a Sufi person, I think, Assam, that's a sort of tea, but anyway, has some sort of name like that, which is like, 1% of the world, people in the world live for fun and profit, to create fun and profit in their life, and 99% live in misery and, fear and unconsciousness. And I don't suppose it's changed very much since all those years ago when he said that, because most people do not exist for fun and profit, and what they can create and to have fun in their lives. They live in survival mode, and they live focusing on what they got to do in order to survive, which takes me back to Guy Fawkes. He was and his mates, they were focusing on what have we got to do to destroy what exists already, so that we can put in something that we want. Doesn't work like that. So with so going into yourself, going back to yourself, if you want to change the world, if we want to change the world, the way we're going to do it is by changing the way we function, which means you've got to become a new person, because you can't change the world and yourself from being the same as you've always been, because that just isn't possible. It ain't going to work. You have to begin to notice what you're feeling, notice what you're thinking, and change it. Change it. How do you change it? Well, there are ways to change it, and that's what I teach people about, and I'm not going to go into all that now, but you have to change yourself. You have to begin to think differently. The way your nervous system is hardwired into place, is the result of the way you have lived in the past. So to change your future, you have got to begin to rewire everything, rewire your programming. It's like you've got your subconscious is like a software program that's running in the background, and it is the part of you that is saying yes to creating in your lives those things that you're unconsciously focusing on because of your conditioning. So it's like your past. You live in your past. We all live in our past. I live in my past, and it's my daily focus, if you like, my daily practice, to begin to focus on what I want in my life, to change the way I think, to do my 15 minutes meditation, to visualize what I would love in my life, and get myself feeling those emotions of appreciation, of joy, of thankfulness, of excitement about what my end results are going to be like they're already a done deal. You've got to feel as good as if it's already happened. Because if you're not feeling as good as if it's already happened, guess what? You're not changing any of your wiring. It's all staying the same. And you're going to be stuck in Groundhog Day for the rest of your life, basically. And the movie Groundhog Day was pretty, accurate and close to what most of us do in our lives. Because, we prefer the comfort of the familiar. So when we wake up in the morning, we start thinking the same things, doing the same things, and we don't change. So my challenge to you is what you're going to change about yourself. Think about something that you could change. Think about something you would like to change. I mean, a very simple basic thing is, I'm choosing health. So the obvious action step is what? Get out and exercise, which I just did this morning. And it was while I was out for my walk that I was musing upon Guy Fawkes and his buddies. And yes, you've got to think about, what would you love to have? Therefore, okay, what's the obvious thing to do to kind of begin to get a bit of momentum going towards rewiring your whole brain body connection thing, which is all terribly scientific, and not going to go into that right now. So yeah, that's it really. And poor old Guy Fawkes, what is it? Remember the 5th of November, gunpowder, treason and plot. We see no reason why gunpowder treason should ever be forgot. Yes, let's stay firmly entrenched in the past. and never forget how they failed because, yeah, because I don't know what. No, seriously, poor old Guy Fawkes and his friends were executed. And now we celebrate that, and it's turned into a bit of a festival for many people around the world. I think, you know, it's gone a bit pagan probably now, and it's probably nothing to do with Catholicism and Protestantism or anything like that anymore, really. Except in Lewis, I live near Lewis, and in Lewis they march down the street with burning crosses and have big parades and burn the Pope, and you know, they go all out. So happy Guy Fawkes to you all. Have a fabulous day, whatever you're doing, because it's a beautiful sunny day out there. Get some exercise, breathe in the fresh air, and think about how you're going to change yourself. If you want a better life, what you're going to do to change it, how you're going to think, how you're going to feel differently about stuff. Yay. Cool. Lots of love to everybody.